Listen to this here. Pay attention to this message. Chapter 3, verse 1. Then Joshua rose early in the morning, and they set out from Acacia Grove and came to the Jordan, he and all the children of Israel, and lodged there before they crossed over. So it was, after 3 days, that the officers went through the camp, and they commanded the people, saying, when, what? Look there. When what? Oh, we have that. Didn't know. So let's read it there in the screen. When you see the ark, do you see the ark of the covenant? Do you see it? Where? On the altar. The ark of the covenant was not this one here, okay? This is just to represent it. Inside the ark of the covenant was the Bible, which were the 10 commandments at that time, the rod that Moses used to open the Red Sea, and the manna that God had provided for the people in the desert, which all had a representation there, represented something. So the ark represented God, God's provision, God's protection, God's miracles. So he was saying, when you see the ark of the covenant, of the Lord your God, and the priests, do you see the priests? Come here. Do you see the priests? Honestly. And the priests, the Levites, bearing it. They're going to bear it in a minute. Then you shall set out from your place in what? Although some people are still sitting down. When you see the ark, when you see the priests bearing it, you shall leave your place and go after them. Follow them. That's what he's saying. Yet, there shall be a space between you and it. It what? The ark. About 2,000 cubits by measure. Do not come near it, that you may know the way by which you must go. Why? For you have not passed this way before. Listen to this. This word here is a revelation. You have never passed through this way before. That's what God is saying to the people. What was he saying? The priests will carry the ark. You go after them. You follow them. Whatever they say to you, wherever they go after them. Just don't go too close and not far. Why? Because you will go to places that you have never been before. It's like driving. When you are driving and you are following someone, you cannot be too far from the car in front of you. Because if he turns left and you don't see, you're going to get lost. Right? But also, you cannot be what? Because if he turns left, you're gone. So there must be what? A certain distance so you can follow him. In the same way, when you take part in the campaign, you cannot be far. You cannot be too far from us. Which means that you say, no, where are they? You must be there, following us. But you cannot be too close. Bishop, what does it mean? People who are too close are those who think that they already know everything. No, I don't need to follow anyone. I don't need to ask guidance. I already know everything. I can do my own way. You're going to get lost. I know people like that. I know people who don't like to stop to ask advice. You know, if I am lost, if I'm driving and I don't know where I am, I immediately stop and say, how do I get there? Do you do that? No, because there are people that they don't want to stop. They keep driving. Stop. No, I know where I am. You know people like that? I stop immediately. I'm not one of those. I know the way. No, if I don't know the way, I will ask. You cannot do this in the campaign of Israel. You cannot just do your own way. You have to do the way that the priest, that God is guiding you. But the key, go back to the verse, please. The key was what? What is the key in this verse? The key words for me. For you have not passed this way before. The campaign of Israel, look at me, is for you to go to places you have never been before. Bishop, why you look at me? It's for you. It is for you. It is for you. It is for you. It is for you. For you to experience things you have never experienced before. For you to taste things you have never tasted before. For you to wear things you have never worn before. For you to drive things you have never driven before. For you to live in places you have never lived before. For you to eat things you have never eaten before. For you to do that in your bed. Where is the couple? Where is the couple? For you to do that in your bed, what you have never done before. No, Bishop, I already had sex. You had sex. But maybe you had never made love with your wife, with your husband, with the man of your life. Or not? Do you feel offended? Because sex anybody can have. You can pay for it. But love with the woman of your life, not everybody can do that. Yes or no? For you to experience what you have never experienced before. That is the campaign of Israel, my friend. For you to, for example, the lady there, she came here to the UK, you mom, and you were looking over your shoulders. In other words, you wanted to go to work, but the people are going to arrest me today, if they come. This is something you couldn't do before. Yes or no? This is it. That's what the campaign's for. So the campaign is not for you to say, oh, let me take part. I'm going to make my sacrifice because every year I do this and God is with me. God is going to bless. No, you must have a reason for it. You must know what you want. I want what I have never had before. This is the Spirit. This is the Spirit. I want to live what I have never lived before. Maybe you have always lived in a council flat. Maybe they tell you where you should live. That's how your life has been ever. Have you ever been able to go there and say, I want this, without having to ask how much it is? Have you ever been able to shop and say, I want this clothes here, without looking at the label first? Because that's what God wants for you. Have you ever been able to go into your house and sit down with your family and eat in peace, enjoy it? Maybe you have never done this before. Maybe it's always the same problem. Maybe you have your husband, you have your partner here, you have your wife, and you are together. You walk there and people look at you. You are smiling, you rejoice. When we walk, but you know what's going on in the house. You know what goes on in the bedroom. You know that there is no joy. You know that there is no unity. But you can have that, even if you have never had before. Bishop, my dream is to get married. You can do that. But I have never done before. You can do that. You can do this. That's what God was saying. When He was leading the people to the promised land, He was saying, follow us. Follow my servants. Follow the priests. Because they're going to lead you to places you have never been before. You're going to eat what you have never eaten before. Remember, those people were born in the desert. They were born in slavery. They were born in slavery. Not in slavery, they were born free because they were born in the desert. But there was no milk and honey in the desert. There was only manna. And like I told you last week, on the 14th day of the month, the manna stopped. The manna stopped because the day after, which was the 15th, they ate from the promised land. Which day is next Sunday? Is the 15th. The manna has to stop on Saturday because on Sunday we're going to start eating from the promised land. You're going to start eating from the things you have never eaten before. You're going to start giving testimonies that you have never given before. Some of you here can talk about certain areas of your life. I can get some of you, even the assistants. I can get the assistant and say, assistant, talk about your life. Bishop, when I came here, I was sick with this disease, blah, 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 blah. Talk about your love life. This is still in process. You can't talk about it yet because it's not there yet. Some cannot talk about their financial lives. Some of you can speak about certain things, but not other things. but you're going to speak about what you have never spoken before. You're going to give testimonies that you have never given before. But in order for that to happen, what must you do? If you want to see new things happening, what do you have to do? You have to do new things, my friends. You have to follow the priests. You have to follow the Spirit. You cannot say, yes, I want that by my own way. You can't. It's either you do God's way or you don't. God told Joshua to walk around the city for 13 times. And we are walking, and we are walking. And on the 13th time, when they shouted, the walls fell down. And believe me, this wall here will fall down next week. Not the physical wall, but the spiritual wall. Whatever it is there. But what does it take? It takes your sacrifice. It takes your all. It takes you depending on God. It takes you trusting in God. But Bishop, what is my sacrifice? You know what it is. It's your all. It is a sacrifice. Okay, so I'm going to stop lying. That's not a sacrifice. Because when you stop lying, you are benefiting yourself. What is a sacrifice in stop lying? Okay, I'm going to forgive the one who hurt me. It's good for you. Because if you don't forgive, you're not going to be forgiven. I'll come more often to the church. If you come to the church, you're going to be blessed. The sacrifice, it is to depend on God, to trust in God. Sacrifice this year will be what? I'm not going to buy Christmas gifts to my children. Because you give the same old Christmas gift, and the family remains in the same rubbish. Lack of unity, lack of peace, problems there. So instead of saying Merry Christmas, what do you say to them? You say to them, we are going to walk in places we have never walked before. Amen? That's it. Oh, Bishop, are you saying that I cannot give? No, what I'm saying is that these things don't change lives. Don't change. Maybe you are worried now about that holiday, about the Christmas, about this, about that. And you're going to enter the new year with the same old life, the same old ways. We are going to put our sacrifice here, inside the Ark of Covenant. Our all. For some of you, it's your house, it's your car, it's your savings, it's your salary. Bishop, I don't have anything absolutely everybody has. I was watching a testimony of one lady that in Brazil, that she told us, do you know what she did? I'm not going to play because it may take time. She came to the church, she had lost everything. Her husband was in prison because of a murder, which was an accident or self-defense. She lost everything, absolutely everything. She came to the church in the time of the campaign. And then the pastor told her to get the envelope. And she got it. But she said she didn't have anything to sacrifice. She was living in a small place, very small place. You know, her life was me, couldn't eat nothing. And she said, what am I going to do? What am I going to give to God? She remembered that her neighbor had a chicken in the fridge. So what did she do? She went, asked the neighbor for the chicken. Because she wanted to cook the chicken, divide, separate in pieces, and sell it to build her sacrifice. And when she went there, the neighbor didn't want to give. So what did she do? She called her husband in prison. And she said to her husband, our life will change. Our life will be transformed. Our life will never be the same again. You're going to come out of there. We're going to be happy again and so on. And the husband couldn't understand anything. And she said, but I need one thing. Our life depends on the chicken. And what? Our life depends on this chicken. And then the husband called the neighbor, who was a friend, asking the neighbor to give her the chicken. She got the chicken, she cooked, and she went out selling. She said that she set her mind to make 300 reais, which is about 100 pounds, selling and buying, selling, and again, she would sell, buy more. She ended up making almost 800 pounds just with one chicken. And she went there. It was all. She said she didn't eat, it was all. To cut the long story short, few days after, her husband was released from prison. Released because it was proved that it was self-defense. Today, just the place where they live, the apartment where they live, in front of Copacabana Beach. Have you heard about Copacabana Beach? Copacabana Beach. The World Cup is going to be in Brazil. The Olympics will be in Brazil. And you can go there, can't you? The place is one of the most expensive areas there in Rio. And the apartment is worth close to 3 million pounds. With 10 10 in sweets. She said her life is completely transformed, which means a chicken. That was her all. She didn't have a penny. That was her all. She built her sacrifice. Oh, Bishop, so can I bring a chicken, put it here next week? No. What is your chicken? What is your chicken? What is your chicken? Maybe your chicken is your BMW car. Maybe your chicken is your salary, your savings, your income. Maybe your chicken is your house. Whatever it is. My God, this is all that I have. And I will put on the altar. Why? 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 Because I want to have what I have never had before. Could be the freedom from your addictions. Maybe you have been an addict for years. You've tried everything and you have never made it. You're going to have what you never had before. Your family united, whatever. Your passport here in this country, whatever it is. Everybody here has a dream. All of you here have a request. And your request is backed up by the prophecy. It's written here. Remember I told you that it's impossible for God to lie? Remember that? Open here. Open there. Open the ark, please. Remember I told you? It's here. The word of my God. It's impossible for him to lie. Whatever he promised is going to come to pass. But it's going to come to pass not in everybody's life. In the lives of those who, and who are those who believe? Are those who, the priests are there with the ark, and they follow. Are those who say, priest, where are you going? You're going there. I'm coming with you. I'm going. I'm in this spirit.